the excess demand concept. So what is excess demand? We will discuss today what is the meaning of excess demand, what are its impact, what are its causes, and then how to solve the problem of excess demand. So when we talk about excess demand, definitely we compare something else. So when we talk about the excess demand is the situation when aggregate demand is more than aggregate supply corresponding to the full employment level. Here we compare the aggregate supply with aggregate demand. We are comparing aggregate demand with aggregate supply corresponding to full employment levels. If the aggregate demand is more than aggregate supply corresponding to full employment level, then it is called excess demand. So in this situation, what will happen? Due to excess demand, price levels increases. So when price level increases, that create inflationary situations. So that's why excess demand is also called as inflationary gap. So this can be explained with the help of diagram as given below. This can be explained with the help of diagram as given below. We know as per the Keynesian theory, aggregate supply started from origin and aggregate demand is started from the y-axis. So this side we are taking aggregate demand and aggregate supply. This side we are taking income and employment, etc. So as per the Keynesian theory, the equilibrium level of employment or income will be determined where aggregate demand is equal to aggregate supply. So in this point, aggregate demand is equal to aggregate supply. Let's say this is the equilibrium level of income, and this equilibrium level of income, let's say it is full employment level of income. So this is the full employment level of income, and this is the full employment level of equilibrium. So this is your aggregate demand, aggregate supply curve. Accordingly, we have decided equilibrium points, equilibrium level of income, and we are assuming that this is equilibrium full employment level of income. Let's say due to any reason, let's say your investment increases. If investment increases, then aggregate curve will shift and parallelly shift, as we are assuming investment is autonomous one. So this one is AD1. So now the equilibrium shift here, but compared to full employment level of income, this gap is created. This gap is created, and this is your demand is this much, but supply is this much. So that means your E dash and E and E is the gap that is created, and this is more of aggregate demand in comparison to aggregate supply required at full employment levels. At full employment levels, this is the aggregate supply, and because of your investment increase AD1, now the demand is AD1, now the aggregate demand is this much and the supply required at full employment is this much. Now this gap is nothing else called excess demand. This is called excess demand, or you may say this is inflationary gap. So this is called inflationary gap, right? So by this way you can explain the meaning of inflationary gap or excess demand. Now come to the effect. So what are its effect? So when inflationary gap occurs, then what are its effect? So effect can be judged from output levels. If you see in the excess demand situation, already the economy is achieved full employment levels. So output will never increase. So means no change in output. Right? So second one, if you talk about the employment, so there is also no change in employment. No change in employment. So why employment will not increase? Because already achieved the full employment. We have assumed that the employment is full employment here. So once the economy achieves full employment, that means everybody, those who want to be employed, they are getting employed. So in that situations, so economy cannot supposed to increase the employment levels. So in that situations, there will be no change in employment. So third one is relating to price levels. So what will happen here? So when demand is more than the supply in the economy, if the demand is more than the supply, then what will happen? The general price level will rise, right? So that will what will happen here? Price level will rise. So this is the effect due to what we will say, this is inflationary gap. So these are the general effect of your inflationary gap or excess demand. Next come to the causes of excess demand. So what are the causes of excess demand? So you know, when demand is more than the supply, that time excess demand will arises. If demand is more than the supply corresponding to full employment levels, then excess demand will arises. So that means due to rising demand, excess demand is arising, or due to fall in supply, excess demand will arises. Now you know that aggregate demand has four components, that is C, I plus G plus X minus M. C means consumption demand, I means investment demand, G means government demand, X minus M means export minus import, that is net export. If any of the component will rise, then aggregate demand will rise. So that means, so you can simply say causes you can supposed to write like that. When consumption demand increases, when consumption demand increases, consumption expenditure increases. Likewise, when investment expenditure increases, right? So likewise, when you say when government expenditure increases, so why increases, that are different things relating to that, you can supposed to know better, right? So let's say why consumption demand increases, it may be due to the increase in propensity to consume, due to increase in income. Likewise, there are so many factors relating to that. So what are the causes? So when consumption demand increases, when investment demand increases, when government demand increases, or due to increasing demand for foreign goods, or due to increasing demand for foreign goods. When demand for foreign goods increases, demand for foreign goods increases, right? So in this way you can suppose to explain what are the causes of excess demand, right? So next come to our topic, main concept, that is how to solve the problem of excess demand. How to solve the problem of excess demand? So when we are talking about how to solve the problem of excess demand, that means we have to control over the aggregate demand. So how to control this aggregate demand? So it can be controlled by two ways, right? So how can we control that? It can be through fiscal policy, fiscal measures, and second one is monetary measures. So fiscal measures, let us talk about the fiscal measures. So in fiscal measures, this is relating to the policy of the government to adjust its income and expenditure to control the aggregate excess demand situations, right? So fiscal measures include two things, right? So as we have explained, fiscal measures is the measures taken by the government to adjust the revenue and expenditure of the government to control the situation of excess demand, and our aim is to reduce the aggregate demand. So in that situations, what are the fiscal policy? First one is increase in tax. Increase in tax. So government will either increase the tax or increase the tax rate or levy the new tax, or it may levy the new tax, impose new taxes. Then what will happen? So when the government increase the tax rate or levy the new tax, then disposable income of the people will decrease. So when it impose, then disposable income of people decreases. When disposable income decreases, then people will demand less. That means aggregate demand will decreases. When aggregate demand decreases, then we can solve the problem of excess demand, right? So likewise, the second that is the methods to solve the excess demand situation through fiscal measure is your through expenditure, right? This is the part of the revenue, and through expenditure. So as the aggregate demand has four components, one of the component is G, that is government demand. So if the government demand will be reduced, then we can supposed to control that. Then how to reduce the government demand? So government has to reduce the public spending. So what have to you have to write here? So reduction in public spending. Here decreasing or reduction in public expenditure. Right? So government spends in different heads, like for law and order, for maintaining law and order, defense, and road, communications, etc., all these. So for that, government will spend that. If the government will reduce the public expenditure, then what will happen? So aggregate demand will decrease. If it is reduced, then aggregate demand will decrease. And if the aggregate demand decrease, then excess demand situation will be solved. So this is how we can suppose to explain the fiscal measures. Likewise, monetary measures can also be explained. So monetary measures are the measures taken by the Reserve Bank of India or Central Bank of a country to control the money supply and money demand to control the excess demand situations. So let us now take some of the policy measures taken by the RBI. So first one is bank rate. So bank rate, what is bank rate? The rate of interest charged by the central bank, while granting loan to the commercial bank, right? So when the commercial bank take loans from the central bank, that time the central bank charge one interest rate. That interest rate is nothing else called bank rate, right? So during excess demand, what the central bank did? The central bank increased the bank rate. So what the central bank do? So central bank increase the bank rate. So it will increase the bank rate. When bank rate will increase, then what will happen? Credit became costlier. Means if the central bank, the commercial bank take 100 rupees from the central bank, right? If the commercial bank take 100 rupees from the central bank and the bank rate is 5, then per annum, then it will be 105, right? The commercial bank has to pay 105. If the bank rate will increase to 10, then it will be 110. So here what happens, the credit became costlier. Earlier the bank has to give 105, now it has to give 110. So in that case the credit became costlier. So when the credit became costlier, then what will happen, the commercial bank also demand less credit, So in that way credit availability at the commercial bank decrease. So when credit availability decrease, then what will happen, it also lend less to the peoples, and ultimately demand will decrease. And another way also, so when the credit became costlier for the commercial bank, the commercial bank also increase the market rate of interest, increase. It will increase the market rate of interest. When market rate of interest increase, then people borrow less, decrease, then aggregate demand ultimately decrease. So this way you can explain different monetary measures, but there are several monetary measures like open market operation, like so many are there. We will discuss later. Thank you.